Hello and welcome to the UK Asian. We're here in London, Universal Studios, in fact. Oh, sorry, Universal Music, I think,
Yes.
is the right term. With multi-platinum selling singer, producer, songwriter, rapper, etc., etc., etc. Jay Sean.
How are you?
Have you just come into London?
You actually just arrived yesterday
Okay.
on a red eye from New York.
All right.
So I've just I managed to recuperate and recover and adjust already, so I'm good. I'm good to go.
You're obviously here, 30th July, album falls.
Yes.
Big moment for you.
It is a
Excited?
very big moment for me, of course.
What's going through your mind? I mean, what is it now? Another 20 days to go now?
Yeah. I'll tell you what's going through my mind. What's going through my mind is it's taken me 3 and a bit years to do this album. Back like when most artists used to take that long to do albums, nowadays I think people will put one out every year, but they're not always that good. I'll be honest with you. I feel that sometimes some of my favorite artists put out an album every year, but the quality isn't as good because they've rushed it. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to take my time to make a really, really great album. And I feel like I've done that, and I hope my fans, I hope that they've haven't minded that they have had to wait so long.
I actually thought it was more than 3 years, closer to 4.5 years. But nonetheless, I mean, there's been a lot of other stuff as well. Name changes, I heard legal battles as well.
Yes.
What's been going on?
It's been crazy, man. I mean, it's almost like all the forces didn't want this album to come out, but we went against all of them, and it's coming out. It's up on the web right now. The pre-order is at least on iTunes. Well, basically what happened was, I was when I got signed to Cash Money, from the people that I was previously with before then, there was a legal ownership battle.
Okay.
And it prevented me from putting out music for an entire year.
Wow.
Yeah. So not only releasing an album, not only releasing songs, I wasn't able to have music on the radio. So imagine that, like to a singer doing that, that's like, that's close to death. Like that's someone with their hands around you trying to kill your career. So, I wasn't going to let that happen. So luckily we got through all that, thank God. The name change just came, that's an artistic thing. I mean, to be honest, it's like when you're writing a book. I don't know, you might be writing a book and the lead character's name is James. And you're like, you know what, this book's going to be called James, The Adventures of James. And then you get to the middle and you're like, actually no, it's going to be called Matilda, Matilda's Revenge, because his girlfriend's called Matilda. You go through different things, and towards the end does it only make sense, and that's where Neon came from.
Neon's obviously the final thing you've settled on. What's the significance of that?
Well, here's the thing, the album title for me has to symbolize not only emotionally what the album means to me, but it also has to have a real a catchy vibe to it, like it's why have you settled on that name, And when I wrote the song Neon, I knew right then that it was one of the most epic songs that we'd ever written. It had an epicness to it, some hope, some ambition, some drive. It's about achieving the impossible. And it made sense that that's what this album needed to be called, because like I said, all these horrible things that had happened to try to break this and stop this album from coming out. We went against all odds, and it's coming out, and it made all sense to me. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel, Neon,
I mean, in terms of your kind of musical evolution, where do you think this is now?
Oh man, this is the best album I've ever done, because I've learned so much over the last 10 years. 10 years as a songwriter, 10 years as a singer. You got all that experience under your belt. That's a lot of experience, and you've been through a lot. I've written thousands of songs. So when I knew it's a fourth album, not only did I know, okay, Jay, it's your 4th album, not only did I know, okay, they've waited a long time for this. This better be good. Like, choose your best songs and put them on here, and even if and the thing is, stylistically, you have to think about music has changed in 10 years as well. Mainstream music, of course it does. Sounds, instruments, music. The keyboards, all of the sounds on the keyboards, they changed. The stuff that would be cool 10 years ago is no longer cool now.
Yeah.
But guess what? There's only a few things that remain forever. Piano, violins, and strings, whatever, guitar. All of these classic instruments and a pure voice. That will last forever. The greatest songs in the history of time have been based on classic sounds and not the new cool sound and what's like, you know what I'm saying? And so what I did, I took all the fads, all this dance music, EDM, this, that, and the other, I threw it out the window. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. Like, for me, I have to go back to organic roots.
Yeah, and essentially your roots as well, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
I was known for a lot more of a soulful R&B style to me. I'll write it and stay, and all these songs which were fans' favorites, I went back there on this album. I was like, this is why they followed me in the first place, this is why they love me in the first place. Don't go here just because everyone else is going there.
Yeah.
Go stick to what you do. And that's what I've done on this album.
And obviously collaborators as well. You got the usual suspects, the kind of mainstream, you know, very well known Busta Rhymes and the way that. But also, I'm far more intrigued, more interested. Pharrell Williams, I've read, Luke Fiasco, and Afrojack as well.
I worked on with all those people. Afrojack's song is not on the album.
Okay.
I did work with Pharrell, and the song that I did with Lupe Fiasco actually is actually one of my favorite songs of all time. And guess what? That song is actually free. That song's not on the album. That song is out right now on the internet.
Okay.
Because I gave that as I gave that to my fans as a way of saying thank you for your patience, and just so you know what's coming and the style of music that's coming, listen to this song.
Yeah.
And that song for me, I don't know if you've heard it, but it's, you know, it's a super soulful record, and it's not like what the people are playing on radio right now, because I don't care what they're playing on radio right now. I want to go to what my fans want. You know, like Sade doesn't care when she's on if she's on radio or not.
Yeah.
Her fans are there waiting, going, okay, we'll wait. She'll come 10 years later. Here you go. And all the fans rush to the stores and get her album because they're loyal fans. She'll be like, oh, by the way, I'm doing a show at so-and-so Nokia Theatre. Oh, I'll see you then. And they're all there. Because you give your fans what they want and you keep them happy. Yeah. And you're okay. If you start chasing what everybody else is doing, you're going to lose your fans. And I didn't want to lose my fans. I was like, you know what, I'm fortunate enough, I have fans around the whole world. I've seen the entire planet because of my fans. So how can I piss them off? I can't afford to do that.
The last album was peaked in Australia, didn't it? Or the last single?
Yeah, the last single did wonders in Australia. But see, what we did was we released different singles in different territories for different reasons. Yeah. Because, and it happens a lot, there's a lot of artists in America who only, like I'll come to England and I'll switch on the radio and I'll hear a song with like will.i.am and Jennifer Lopez. And I'm like, what? This song's not playing in America. But that's because they released it to this territory only. And now he'll release a different song for America. One with Britney Spears or something, you know. So that's what we did on this album. That's the way that music's going at the moment, to be honest. It's different territories want different things.
How important are markets, specifically Britain and India, where your first album was such a huge hit?
Yeah.
How's I mean, because obviously our readership is predominantly British Asian.
Right.
You know, how important is India at the moment in terms of from a commercial point of view for you?
Very important. Although having said this, I didn't want to intentionally try to make a separate album just for them, where I stick, you know, double R and everything and put a harmonium in a song just because as that, you know what I mean? It's almost insulting. Yeah. This is my art. This is what I do. And I don't assume my Indian fans to have any different kind of taste to the rest of the world. You're telling me that they don't listen to Neo, that they don't listen to, you know, Chris Brown, that they don't listen to Usher? Of course they do. Usher doesn't have to stick a tumbi in one of his songs he doesn't have to do that, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah. But what I did do, I gave them a very special gift, which the rest of the world won't understand. It's a song which I've remixed in Hindi, and that's just for them. Okay. And it's sung beautifully, it's written beautifully, it's produced beautifully, and it's actually all organic. It's just a piano. It's a piano and my voice. Cool. And it's for the Indian fans.
Cool. Going back to the collaborators, Pharrell Williams, what are you actually doing with him on the album?
There's a song that I've done with him, which is going to be, well actually, I've done a couple of songs with him. We're still trying to decide whether we want to give it as a bonus or whether we're going to put it on a repack. Because it's something very special. We're going to tweak a few things with it still. I know that he wants to change a few things and I'm going to change a few things, but I actually did work with him 2 years ago. You know, before he, you know, like, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
He's a phenomenal talent, isn't he? I mean,
he's really.
What does he actually bring to the table?
He's just incredible. He brings everything to the table, actually. He's very, 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 very hands-on with all of his work. It was an amazing experience working with him. You know, I sat in the studio and he acknowledged me as he walked in, but went straight to the keyboard.
Wow.
Because he had something in his head, and that was more important.
Just had to get it out.
Had to get it out.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I respect that. Because there's times where I've got a melody in my head, and someone will be trying to talk to me, and I'm like, I'll put it down. And at that moment, you have to. That's how we live, man. That's what we live off. That's our ideas, is how we make music.
Yeah.
And then after he got it out of his system, he came up and goes, "Hey man, what's up, man? So happy to work with you." And I was like, "Hey," and he just made the whole beat right there. It was great.
Pharrell Williams, man. But I mean, for the layman, for those fans who are, you know, who wouldn't probably have a very, very kind of intricate understanding of music and the industry and so forth, why the collaborations? I mean, how much of it is, for instance, a commercial consideration? How much of it is a creative consideration?
That's a very good question. I'm so glad you asked that. A lot of people don't understand the purpose of a collaboration, and I personally avoid any collaboration which looks like you're getting it for the name. If you notice that every single person that I've worked with, there has been a reason why those songs work. Okay, do you remember with Sean Paul? And he added a flavor to that song, that he's the dancehall king. That's what he does. He's the best of his field. I've worked with the best of the best. I'm so fortunate to have done that. Lil Wayne is the best of the best in that field of what he does. Nicki Minaj, the best of the best. She's the best female rapper in the world, right? Even Craig David, he's like what he did. He was the king of England when he did his work, you know? Tons of people. Mary J. Blige, the queen of soul. Like every single person I've worked with, it's because I've respected them and their art. Not because they're the newest sound on the street. These are the people I've just mentioned have been around for years.
Legends.
So I've had the chance of working with these people because I respect their art. And I always wanted to have the chance to work with them. And that's why they've come about. With Rick Ross, I met him many years ago in a club in Miami, and we got talking, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I see you're killing things right now." And I was like, "Dude, I'm such a big fan of your music. I love your music." This is 2-3 years ago, and he's like, I was like, "I'd love to work with you one day." And he's like, "Yo, man, if you find the right song, let's do it." Because he knew at the time it had to be the right song. He's a hip hop artist and a hardcore hip hop artist. He won't do pop music. So I found the right song, and it was a soulful R&B song, and I sent it to Rick. And Rick was like, "You know what, I love this." And when you hear Mars, which is the current single, you understand why they work. When his voice comes in, it adds a texture to the song.
I mean, another thing that I'm sure a lot of fans are kind of intrigued as well. As a British Asian, born and raised West London, you know, you've enjoyed such phenomenal success in the US. I mean, how much what's the dynamic like when, you know, American record producers, singers, artists, etc., when they work with you as a British Asian, a Brit and an Indian, and how much have you had to kind of alter your persona or your personality in order to kind of make that gel, make it work?
It's interesting because I thought it would be an obstacle. It actually works in my favor. They love that I'm different. They love that let's be honest, the majority of the producers that I work with are from a black background. They're black, okay?
Yeah.
It's clear when I walk in that I'm not, but they hear this voice come out and they're like, "Wow," pleasantly surprised, because they're like, "Hey, dude, you sing like a black guy, and you know you're not a black guy," and they're excited about that. It's fun for them. It's different, and then they'll hear the accent and when I'm speaking, and they love the fact that I'm not trying to be like, "Yo, what's up, man? Yo, man." They're like, he keeps it real. He is who he is, and that music, that culture is all about keeping it real.
Yeah.
If you are trying to be someone you're not, they're not going to respect you.
You don't have any tattoos so far?
No,
yet,
you see, no diamonds in my teeth. I might have a nice little chain, but no diamonds in my teeth. I'm signed to Cash Money, and they've all got the diamonds in their teeth and tattoos. But the reason they love me is because I keep it real to who I am. And I've always believed that in life. Like, why be, you're only going to be a second-rate someone else. Like, be a first-rate you. Like, just be the best that you can be. You're meant to be unique, and so be unique, be you. And so when I come with that approach, they really respect that, and they enjoy working with me.
10 years in the business, that's approaching middle age in the business.
It really is. I'd say, old age, if anything, in the business. Right now. I'm a pensioner in the business.
What's the next stage for you? Is it new artists? Is it producing?
Yeah, it is.
What's the next one for you?
Well, at this moment in time, nothing's more important to me than my album. 100%. You know, this for me is who knows? It might be the end. It might be the last album I ever do. It might be. I've done 10 years of it, and I might decide, you know what, I need to move on to something else creatively. I know Jay-Z said that years ago, and then he carried on making music. It doesn't leave you.
Yeah.
It never leaves you. You know, Justin Timberlake said he's done with music. He came back after 6 years. You know, so I know that in my heart of hearts, I have produced and written and sung the best album to date in my 10 years. 100%. I'm not just saying that because it's my new album. I'm saying it because it's the proof is in the pudding. When you hear it, you'll think, holy crap, he put so much effort and thought behind this album. It's not just a mishmash of, oh, that producer, that songwriter, this hit album. No, that's not how an album's made. When Michael Jackson made the album with the best Thriller with Quincy Jones, they sat there and they listened to all of it and they went, we're missing number 3. We need this emotion, we need this type of feel, we need this groove, we're missing that. And they created it together because it was a project, it was a work of art. That's what you do. When you're making a painting, you know, it's missing this shade, and it's okay, I've got it right here because this is the guy I mix my paints with and we'll do it together. Not like you don't go somewhere else for that because you're doing it, this is your painting. And that's why when I was putting this album together, I had to understand how I wanted it to be perceived.
Be a student of the
100%.
industry. And that's important, isn't it?
100%. That's how I do my thing.
I mean, you're now the benchmark for the British Asian music industry. I mean, who excites you in terms of upcoming talent, in terms of new talent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for new talent all the time, man. I think one of the things that upsets me about the British Asian industry is that if there is talent, it doesn't get the platform, and it took in 10 years. How has nobody else stepped up like that? To that, it baffles me because it's not a lack of talent. I've heard great singers. I'm looking at great singers all the time on YouTube, but unfortunately, there is not the infrastructure. It still does not exist fully. Like the scene, the way that we're trying, and our scene tries year and year again to try to come up with the best award show or the best Asian network show or whatever it is, or they try to come up with this, but unfortunately, I feel like the platform is not quite ready yet, and I don't know if I can be mad at that. Because let me tell you something, look how long it took for black mainstream artists to come into music, right? It took a while, and once they did, they started flowing through, okay? Yeah. How long did that, let's go back there, like it's actually quite a deep issue, it's a deep-rooted issue, because it's almost the same as, okay, so like when you go to India, the Bollywood scene is the scene, okay?
The scene.
You try to launch a country scene there, it's gonna be damn difficult. It takes a while.
Forget country, even a folk scene.
Right.
There's a brilliant folk scene.
Right. Yeah. You understand, it's going to take a while. And so even though as frustrating as I might find it, I understand it's going to take a while. And, I think we just have to be patient.
Yeah. Finally, this is a snippet of information that I actually caught while we were driving down here. You were studying dentistry before you went... Medicine, not dentistry. Third year, you left in your third year.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, do you regret that? Do you still pinch yourself 10 years down the line? I mean,
dude, let's be honest. Would you, if you got to see the whole world, and you got to sing and get paid to see the world and have screaming fans and taste all the beautiful food around the world and absorb the culture, see our planet, and get paid for it? Would you regret it?
What's the worst thing though?
About
being in the business, about your success, about everything about Jay Sean.
I think it's funny. Worst might be the wrong word, but I think that the most difficult thing is people have when you're in the public eye, people don't sometimes think you're a normal person with emotions and feelings, and they expect you to be resilient to everything that they want to say. Type behind a computer, write in a newspaper, or say in an interview, or talk behind your back after you've left the radio station, and they don't understand you're still just a human being. And even though we are a lot more thicker skinned now because we've had to water off a duck's back so many times, I think the hardest thing is that people don't understand that this is still just a job for us, And for example, if I've had to move to America for my job. If tomorrow you had the biggest shot of your life in journalism, in Singapore and you had to settle in Singapore, and you had to hear constantly from people, oh, he's a sellout because he went to Singapore, you'd be like, no, dude, I'm making a living. I've had to move to America, and sometimes there is this backlash. Oh, he's forgotten about us. No, I haven't. I'm making my living, man. I'm going to where I need to survive, where I need to go, and that's where my work is. That's where my record label is. I have to go and live. Hey, my dad tomorrow had to say, guys, I'm sorry, we're packing up, we're going to Argentina, best deal of my life. Dad, let's go. We got one life, let's do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. And I think people don't understand that sometimes.
You've outlasted them. Neon drops 30th July.
30th July.
Good luck, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.